Well, it's week 4 of the LCS Day 2 with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Armao. Armao, I just interviewed Fudge a little ago. He said he hates you. It says you're really annoying because you argue about literally everything with him. I would like to offer you this forum to rebuttal.
I mean, I think he's over-exaggerating, but I could see that being somewhat true.
Okay.
But he doesn't think I'm annoying. He's just being mean right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my boy, so.
Okay. He's your boy. All right. So we should say we're watching Team Liquid Immortals right now. Anything you're surprised about? Because Team Liquid is kind of stomping Immortals.
Cannot say that's too much of a surprise, unfortunately. Obviously, the APA debut,
Yes.
it's definitely interesting because he doesn't speak Korean, obviously. But I would be interested to see what they're doing for comms. I might ask you on later because I'm friends with him and just ask, like, are they doing some English? Does someone just translate? Does he just full mute on mid lane and just play? But yeah, I'm not surprised they're stomping Immortals because it's Immortals.
All right. So you say APA. Is it APA or APA?
I mean, his original IGN was always plan ahead.
Yeah.
So APA is like the abbreviation. So I think it's APA, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right. So you are back in the LCS. It was interesting. We were talking about this a little bit on Hotline League recently, where I was saying, it's really interesting to see Armao pop off because he had this reputation for a while of being in the LCS and then not always performing and struggling. And then we looked at Mark pointed out, like, your history, which is very limited in the LCS. And yet you have this kind of reputation about you that you are destroying, even though maybe it's even an unfair reputation. So I guess what has it been like for you stepping back into the LCS, especially because it had been a while since you played, and dealing with sort of reputation, expectations, that type of stuff?
I mean, it was obviously very weird. I cannot deny that it was weird. I hadn't played since I had subbed for TL, played the year in academy, was coaching. I mean, obviously I was just doing everything. When it comes to like that stuff, I think it was unfairly portrayed for me, like how like poor of a player I was, this type of stuff. But I also don't think I was like a good performer in LCS. I would agree with that. It's just people like overdo it, I guess, in that way. Coming back in, I do feel like I've been more comfortable on stage, which is nice. I don't know, it's just been easier than it was before. But when it comes to like community expectations, all this stuff, I mean, I don't really care. Like, I wasn't sure how we'd play, but obviously from the start we were doing really well, so our expectations went up. Obviously going to Worlds is probably our main like initial goal, right? Because that's kind of what every team does. Of course you want to win the split, this type of stuff, but making Worlds is our goal, and that's what I'm going to work towards, and that's what we're all going to work towards.
Are you surprised at how well this team is doing? Because I feel like everybody else is surprised. It's like JoJo had this great lineup around him, including an MVP. And then suddenly all these folks go and everybody goes, oh, EG's cutting budget, blah, blah, blah. And then you all show up and, like, you are at the top of the standings right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it had potential to do really well and then potential to just be kind of middle of the pack. I don't think we were ever going to be bad or, like, bottom because, I mean, I think the bottom teams are pretty horrible, so it would be hard to be that bad. I mean, personally, I thought Revenge played well in Immortals last year. His team was just really bad. JoJo obviously didn't have a great split. I don't remember too much of watching it, but that's kind of what everyone says. Yeah. It was not great. But he's obviously playing a lot better now. For me, I thought I would play pretty good. I wasn't sure how good I'd play, but I didn't think I would be like a detriment to the team. I mean, I wasn't sure how I'd fare with everyone because it's been a while. And then ball lane, I played with Ayla for a while. I knew he was a good player, and I don't know what happened on FlyQuest, but he's not some like horrible team ruining player. Yeah. It's just not which is not what it is. I played with him for 2 years, and I'm forgiven. I mean, he's just a good player, and I mean, I think everyone knew that from EU. I don't know exactly what happened with him, but so it's just like it's players who are good, or like they're good, but there's just so many weird situations around them, I guess. So if you're not a player, I guess you might think it's worse. But like anyone I talked to was like, oh, that roster actually sounds pretty good. Like, I'm friends with Bobber. Obviously, I was coaching him, and he was like, "Oh, that actually sounds pretty good." Like, I hope you get that. Like, obviously, when I wasn't on the team yet. So yeah, I think we expected to do pretty well.
All right. Well, how well do you think this team can do? Because obviously, you guys have been putting up good results in best of ones, but you were just coming from the Cloud9 side. These guys could be pretty good in best of fives. That's on the horizon with playoffs. Obviously, Golden Guardians is coming off of MSI. where do you think EG will land whenever you guys get into playoffs?
I mean, right now, I don't think we're like good enough to compete with those teams in best of fives. Just absolutely not. I think we have a lot of things to work on, both in like having more flexible drafts, like gameplay stuff. I mean, there's so many things, right? That they're just more experienced. Like there's old things. They went to MSI. They got draft prep on different types of drafts. So I think we're definitely far from beating them. I think the other teams we can all take like right now if we were to play in a best of five. But to beat those teams at a best of five, we will have to improve. Yeah. That's just it, basically.
I've been spending all day asking players about sort of the North American talent conundrum, especially in light of Academy going away recently for the most part. What do you make of all of that? Because you are a player, as I said, who showed up, played a little bit, often in not great situations where you were put up to succeed, got a reputation, and then you're now coming back, but seemingly in light of EG making like sort of last minute, mid of the year budget changes. So, do you think there are a lot of people like yourself who end up being put in tough spots to succeed, flop out, can't ever get back in, or what are there a lot of good North American players that just aren't getting played? What's happening?
I mean, I don't think it's a ridiculously common thing that just is perma happening, but I do think I would never have gotten a chance. Like, it was impossible to get a chance for me to play again, basically. Like, I went to Korea, I got challenger in Korea. I obviously won the Academy splits. I did, technically what you're supposed to do to be able to play, and it obviously wasn't going to happen. So
why do you think that was?
I mean, just because I played before and looked bad. I mean, it's just simple as that. And obviously Academy is weaker competition. But, I mean, I don't really know, it obviously just sucks. There's obviously players like Contracts, Dokla, like obviously there's players like me. There's kind of two categories. There's players like me, like the people who flopped out, and then there's the true first no opportunity type people. I think for the people who have had bad performances, I mean, obviously I hope there's just some context, and if you're playing well, you go to Korea, this type of stuff, you're doing well in Academy or whatever it is now, I'm not even sure what it's called. Yeah, I mean, hope there's opportunities for players like that, but I mean, at some point, sometimes you just have to pray for the best. Yeah. You really can't do anything.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any systemic issues with the league where you said there was almost no chance you were going to get this, and then this kind of unique opportunity popped up. Yeah. But clearly now that you're here, you're a great asset to the league. Yeah. So is there a systemic issue that prevents players like yourself from finding the success or the opportunities that they should have?
I mean, I think it's just weird decision making by some of the orgs. I'm definitely surprised that players from C9C who they won Academy last split. Yeah. I don't think any of them are playing in the LCS, right? I don't know. That's correct, I think. Yeah. That was definitely shocking to me. Tomio, I'm friends with him. I'll give him a shout out. Definitely a player team should be looking at. When they're not looking at those players, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. Yeah. A team like that, they were just very strong. They scrimmed LCS teams because I was on C9, so I know they were beating LCS teams. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know when there's some of the bottom teams struggling really hard. I feel you could probably get those players as subs and they would be willing to do it, just scrimming. And then if they perform well, those players they want any opportunity, I mean, maybe it's just a pure money thing. I mean, yeah, I'm not an org, so I don't know.
Do you think that any of it comes down to, well, those are North American players, so they're bad?
I mean, I would hope not. If that's the mindset, that's just too troll. One, you need North American players to actually win LCS. That's just how the rules work, especially if you're...
Well, not technically, no, because we're now at a point where you can... you can use Oceania players, you can use players who have been here for a while, so they're grandfathered in or they got a green card or something. Yeah.
I mean, usually it's good to get some core NA players. Then you can get a few imports around. That's usually the winning strategy in LCS. I mean, our team, we have only one import on EG, so because Ayla is a NA resident from OS, which I think is fair because OS they don't even have a league anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty valuable to look for NA players, but I'm just a player. Maybe they know more than me. I don't know.
I mean, you're doing better than a lot of them, so clearly, I don't know if I would say that they know better, but I guess it's just interesting to get your insight as a player who's been around for a while and who, I'll be honest, like when I fell victim to this too, and even I have tried to be more open-minded to stuff where I was like, oh, they're picking up Armao, like that's a name I haven't heard for a while, and like, and then you show up and you prove everybody wrong. We're looking at the standings right now because the games are done, and you guys are 9-2, a game ahead of C9 and Golden Guardians tied. So clearly things are going well. I guess the last question I would have is like, what do you make of the players on your team? Or is there anything that you can tell us a little bit about them that people would not know? Like Revenge obviously was stuck on Immortals for a long time. Clearly he's performing a lot better now, or is I guess in a position to win again. A lot of people still are getting to know JoJo because he's only been around for a short time. Like anything you can share about your experiences working with these guys that the community or the audience doesn't know?
I guess for Ayla, I feel like he's someone the community probably, I don't know, like they don't know much about because he's not too out there, other than the Vulcan thing, which which happened. Personally, I really love playing with him. I think he's a super skilled player, and he's really smart about the game. He's really he's just really good. I don't know. I think he got such a bad rep from FlyQuest. I don't know exactly what happened over there. Obviously he was a rookie. He was new. He might have been underperforming a bit, but I think he will continue to play really well. So I would expect good things from him.
Very good. Thank you so much. Anything you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Thank you for supporting us. Obviously, it's surprising we're first for the fans, especially probably. I think we're just going to keep working hard to perform well in playoffs because I think regular season we're in a pretty good pace here, but playoffs is going to be a different game. So, but thank you for the support.
Thank you for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. Hey everyone, hopefully you've been enjoying our coverage of the LCS season here from the LCS studios. I guess it's called the Riot Games Studios now. Either way, we've been having a great time providing you high quality interviews. Hopefully you've been enjoying them. And I wanted to show you, speaking of high quality, an amazing piece of hardware. This is the M18 notebook that Alienware has hooked us up with. It's been great. We've been providing you coverage straight from this notebook. Now this Alienware M18 features a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 40 series GPU. This is Alienware's most powerful laptop, and having this in our arsenal allows us to get content to my channels quickly. So again, thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring our coverage and for powering our summer split.